So we got some interesting information in relation to this Transformers 1 animated movie that we will be getting next year. This information is pretty much taken with a grain of salt, but it does come from a reputable source, so we'll see what happens. But all of this comes because as of this recording right now, the China LIcensing Expo 2023 is happening at the Shanghai International Expo Center in China. Now, what's going on there is it's a giant expo. It shows all these different brands and IPs, and they use this to show this a year in advance to all kinds of different companies so they could plan and make pitches for licensing of all kinds of different products related to these big brands. Supposedly Transformers was there, and supposedly a teaser trailer was shown to licensors way in advance for the Transformers 1 animated movie that we are going to be expecting next year. Now, this licensing expo is going on today, tomorrow, and the day after, so we might get more information over the next couple days. But we do have an individual that saw this little teaser trailer. No recordings were allowed. No photography was allowed. He did draw something, which we'll get into in a moment. But he did give this little anecdote of what he saw, and let's talk about it. This might be a little bit of a spoiler for people, but if you don't want, mind you, it was a teaser trailer, so probably not too much was spoiled. But so here's what he wrote. On the afternoon of the 16th, I attended the China Licensing Expo. I was fortunate to see some news about next year's animated blockbuster movie, Transformers 1. The key highlight was the release of a teaser, which couldn't be recorded on the spot. From memory, I sketched appearances of two characters. However, please note that these sketches are based solely on my recollection, and the actual appearance may differ, so I recommend you wait for the teaser. So obviously, he sketched two items, which we'll get into in a moment, of two characters. It seems that the details of the movie are still being kept under wraps. According to the people from the expo, which I assume are probably Hasbro representatives, they only received this teaser yesterday. The plot expected to revolve around love, hate, and rivalry between Optimus Prime, Megatron, Bumblebee, and Alita, as well as their journey to obtain the transformation cog. Initially, they have a hollow space in their chest, as depicted in my drawings here. After acquiring the transformation cog, their chest will change. In the middle of the late stages, they gain the ability to transform, and their initial incomplete forms appear in various humorous and bizarre shapes. They can transform into vehicles like trucks, tanks, sports cars, and motorcycles. Characters such as Shockwave, Soundwave, and Starscream will also be introduced, but at the time they are not yet enemies. Everything appears to be reminiscent of the beginning of a dream. The movie is produced by ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, the studio responsible for Transformers 1 to 5 of the live-action movies, so the quality should be good. Overall, the character designs are more rounder compared to the previous posters we've seen of the movies, and it takes some getting used to for everyone. I've never seen character designs quite like this, so they're somewhat unique. For example, Alpha Trion appears to be a fusion of stone and plants and is very different from the usual Cybertronian design. Also, the character of Sentinel is blue, and I don't have a clear impression of the other characters yet. So that's pretty much what they said. So there's a lot to take apart here. The first part, again, the image that he provided was two drawings of clearly what is Orion Pax, Optimus Prime, and a Megatron showing the empty area in their chest where a transformation cog is supposed to be. So the story is pretty much the early days of the war, it sounds like, and them going on this journey, this quest to get the transformation cog to complete themselves, to give them abilities to transform. This is a different take, definitely, on Transformers. So the transformation cog has always existed in Transformers. It made its debut in season 3 of Generation 1. It was why Metroplex was not able to transform during the 86 movie. His transformation cog was damaged, so they had to fix it and make a new one. And that's why he was stuck in city mode and he couldn't do robot mode. And then, of course, the idea of a transformation cog would appear in many different forms and fictions of Transformers. Probably the best well-known outside of what I just mentioned would have to be maybe the T-cog, which is a transformation cog that was mentioned a lot in Transformers Prime. So they're going on this journey quest, get the transformation cog, get the ability to transform. I guess that's kind of a way to sell it to audiences of why these characters transform. Why do they need to transform in this environment? It's this quest of growth, I guess. They mention here the love, hate, and rivalry between Optimus Prime, Megatron, Bumblebee, and Alita. I imagine there's probably going to be some love triangle thing they're going to do, you know, Optimus and Alita and Megatron being resentful and Bumblebee the happy-go-lucky sidekick on this adventure. Again, trying to get these transformation cogs. Probably when they get to the transformation cogs, there's probably going to be some kind of fight over them, and then ownership, and then something breaks apart, and that creates the rift. You know, they mentioned here, where was it? The humorous shapes and bizarre rounded compared to previous versions. I kind of see that's kind of the look and the design that they're going with, what I would say with Transformers Earthspark, where it's more of a rounder element of how the characters look. That we, you know, it's debatable. What this guy drew here looks kind of similar to what we saw with those teaser posters for Transformers 1. So it kind of lines up with that, at least. The mention here of Alpha Trion having a more plant and stone-like appearance. That sounds, I don't know, when he says that, it sounds like in the game Killer Instinct, the newer version, there was a character called Aganos, which is kind of like this golem character with obviously mossy and plant elements on him, and also kind of has like a Quintesson Alpha Trion kind of face. So I kind of was reminded of that. Maybe to kind of give him a connection to the, you know, being the original 13 and the core of Cybertron in a lot of ways. The mention of Sentinel, aka probably Sentinel Prime, being blue. I don't know if that's a nod to his animated incarnation, because Sentinel Prime historically either yellow or yellowish gold kind of character. Obviously, you know, there was that silly retcon years later where it's like, oh, you know, U-Haul bot? Yeah, that's Sentinel, which is, you know, I'm not going to buy that, but whatever. So no doubt it's probably a nod to his animated incarnation, and of course he was red in the movie stuff. You know, a lot of interesting things mentioned here. It does sound like it's more of a journey movie. It's not a war movie. It's more these characters, they're going on a quest to get the transformation cog, and clearly something's going to happen along the way that fractures them and makes them go their separate routes. And that's probably where we're going to maybe see the birth of Optimus Prime before the movie is over. Because how could you do a movie without Optimus Prime? Because it clearly is an Orion Pax looking design there. So far, it looks like Christopher Hemsworth is supposed to be Optimus Prime Orion Pax. Scarlett Johansson is Alita 1. Keegan-Michael Key is going to be Bumblebee. So again, the plucky sidekick joke character. John Hamm is Sentinel Prime. Lawrence Fishburne is going to be Alpha Trion. And Brian Henry is going to be Megatron from the actors that we know thus far. As for the director of this movie and the writers are Andrew Barrer and Gabriel Ferrari. They're the people that worked on Ant-Man and Wasp as writers, and they were in the writing room when they were working on Transformers The Last Night, so they already kind of had their foot in the door with the Transformer franchise. And this is going to be directed by Josh Cooley, who did Toy Story 4. He was directing that, so he already has animation experience at least. You know, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. This movie was supposed to come out July 19th, 2024. That was the original announcement. But then, of course, the big V and everything kind of pushed that all back. Pretty sure the writer's strike didn't help either. So that got pushed back to September 13th, 2024. So it's pretty much less than a year away in a lot of ways. So we'll see what happens with that. But very interesting, very interesting. The mention of the transformation cog going in the chest, I could already see that being a toy play element that they're going to probably do with the toys, where you're going to probably put some kind of device in the chest and the character reacts to it, some kind of clipping gimmick element. So you're already kind of interplaying that into the toys. So interesting. Let me know what you think about that. So that's pretty cool that we have a little bit of an update, and it shows that there is some kind of animation and a teaser out there that, who knows, you know, if we're a year away from this, we're bound to see something at least. They're going to have to show us something, or some teasers or some designs are going to get out there, especially for the licensors to be able to see it, because they need to base that off of the stuff that they're going to work on, of products and placement and everything. So very cool. That's it, more or less. The only other thing I do want to mention is we got a big announcement today, too. The latest segment of the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer has dropped live today, too. So go check that out on the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer channel. Me and Aaron Archer, one of the head premium Hasbro designers, we sit down and we talk about the creation of Masterpiece MP1 Optimus Prime Convoy, aka the 20th anniversary of Optimus Prime, and the birth of the Transformers Masterpiece line and how that all came to be, because he was a big factor behind all of that. And Masterpiece is the longest running Transformer line to this day. So pretty cool segment. Go check that out too. The Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. And that's it, more or less. Hope you guys have a great day, and let me know what you think about all of this. And thank you for listening to the Transformer Slag podcast.